Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to use a Katiedids finding. It's this pretty bezel here. It's got a double row. It's a nice solid bezel, which you can fill with beads, crystal clay, resin, and other components of your choosing. And in this video here, I'm going to show you how to fill it with 4mm beads. I have an example here where I have used Swarovski 4mm beads in amethyst and Pacific opal, and you can see it creates a really pretty focal. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a head pin. And I've got one here with a ball, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it in just a moment, because I'm going to do just a slight variation on this design to give you a couple other ideas of what you can do. So then I'm going to need a 10mm round bead, and I've got this one here in crystal satin. I've got 4mm beads. I have 23 of them, and this is in indicolite. And then I've got 13 Indian pink 4mm Swarovski crystal beads. In terms of the tools you're going to need a pair of flush cutters, a chain nose plier, and then either a round nose plier or I'm going to use a wire looping plier for this particular project. You're also going to need a little bit of glue. I've got E6000. You're going to need some beading wire. I've got just some silver color here. It's a fine beading wire. It's by Soft Flex. And you're just going to need enough to go around your inner rows. Actually, I've got way more than I need here, and to be able to crisscross through a couple beads and pull them tight. So you're going to see what you'll need to do with that in just a moment. And then I've just got a Post-it and a piece of wire to use as an applicator for my E6000. So without further ado, let's start in on this project. In the example here, I've just used a head pin and put it through there, but I want to show you that you can also have a nice focal bead in the center as well. So what's special about these Katiedids is it's a little hard to see sometimes, but there's actually a hole that's going to go all the way through all of the different rows. And I'm going to show you a little trick to help you get your wire up into those holes. So I'm going to take a second head pin. Because if you try to just feed the wire through, I notice it does have a little bit of a hard time finding that second hole. But if you just use another head pin to just gently get under it and coax it up a little bit, and there you go, you can see we're through the next hole. I'm going to do the same thing for that third hole. Just use another piece of wire as a guide. And what I'm doing is I'm just gently lifting the wire a little. There we go. And I'm using a head pin with a ball end just because my 10mm Swarovski bead has a hole that's just a little bit larger than the head of a 24 gauge head pin, at least the ones that I was using, and that would actually slip right through. So I wanted to use the ball just to anchor it and make sure it didn't slide through. So I'm going to pull that all the way through so it stays in the middle of my Katiedids. And now I'm going to take my wire looping pliers. And these are great because they do a lot of the work for you. I'm just going to squeeze, wrap the wire around, rotate the pliers. And let me show you what we've got here. We've already got that loop almost all the way made. And now I'm just going to wrap my wire around the stem, making a wrapped wire loop. You want it to be fairly tight so that that bead stays firmly there in the center. Now I'm just going to trim off my excess and take my chain nose plier just to go ahead and make sure that that wire gets tucked in there. And now we've got the start of our project. Now I'm going to take one length of cut beading wire. This is about 12 inches long. It's a little bit longer than I actually need, but I wanted to give myself a little bit of extra room. And I'm going to thread onto it 14 4mm beads. You can use 3mm beads as well. You'll just need a few more. So now I'm going to take these and I'm going to put one end of the beading wire under my head pin, which is secured in there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other end so that they crisscross beneath the head pin. And I'm going to take the tail end and go through one of my 4mm beads on one side and do the same thing on the other side. And now I'm going to pull so they form a ring. And now you'll see what's going to happen is they're going to be able to be laid down into that channel. But what I want to do is I want to provide a little bit of extra support and put some E6000 down before I press them in. So I'm just going to take some E6000. This is an industrial strength adhesive. It is very strong. It works great. And then I've just got a piece of wire that I'm going to use as an applicator. If you have a toothpick, you could go ahead and use that as well. And I'm going to put it into the base of the channel so that I can lay the beads down into the glue. So now I'm going to pull even tighter, bring those beads together, and lay them into the channel. And now at this time I can go ahead and I can trim off my excess beading wire. And continue pressing these into place. You can scooch them around a little bit to make sure that there's nice even gaps between the beads. Now I do want to show you one thing on this one here. Instead of using 14 4mm beads like I did here, and you can see there's little gaps between them, I went ahead and I used 15. The only noticeable difference is if you look at from the side, you can see that this pops up just a little bit because 15 is just a little bit snug in terms of having them all fit in there neatly. So if you want them to all be down and nice and set into that channel, you're going to want to go with 14. But if you don't mind that one little bump, go ahead and use 15. Personal preference there, whatever style you like best. And now we're going to do the second row, and we're going to do it in the same fashion that we did the first row. So on this one, we're going to use 23 4mm beads. We're going to put them all onto our beading wire. Okay, same process as before. Go ahead, put the beading wire beneath the head pin on both sides so that they crisscross. Take the beading wire, put it through one of your beads on the left side. Do the same on the right side. Pull them together. This is a great way of double checking that you've got the right number of beads. And that looks like it's going to fit just fine. So go ahead, flip it up, take your glue and your little applicator. And we're just going to run a line of glue in this channel where the beads are going to sit. You don't need to coat every inch of this channel because the beads are going to help to support themselves. You're just trying to make sure that they're anchored in there and just giving them a little bit of extra security. Okay, we're going to call that good. Make sure we pull tight. Flip your beads down. Press into place, and then all you need to do, trim off your extra beading wire. And there you go. You've got a really pretty focal. There's two different ways of doing it, and there's a lot of other options. There's other Katiedids findings, and again, you can use beads, you can use crystal clay, you can use resin. Really let your creativity flow.